But if
All right,
we need to look at it,
I think we'll come to order. I beg your pardon. Sorry. Welcome back. Thank you all for coming, either in person or virtually on YouTube. Would you please join me in our Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public participation. Do we have any highlights to present to the board this evening? All right. Have there been any patron concerns sent to us through any electronic means?
I have not received any.
Hearing none, we can close public participation. As a reminder to those listening at home, all 7 of you, if you have anything you'd like the board to know about, obviously we're not open for the public to attend at the moment, please email Ms. Metzger or your school board representative, and we will be happy to read that out loud or present it during our working session or the board meeting. We do not want to limit your access to us in any way, even though we're still in some challenging times. Next item on the agenda would be the consent agenda. We walked through that in the working session. I have not heard any requests to break out any item in particular. Yes, sir.
Do we want to break out, are you bringing recommendations and hirings? Is that, you putting all that personnel?
That would be under personnel. Is there something you'd like to have separated out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Denny Bushman.
I think Denny is his own line.
I didn't see it on the form, I mean, he's making presentations under facilities.
Oh, you're right, that's what I saw. Okay.
Because that is a new job, and creating the salary, I think.
Okay.
Don't you guys agree we ought to separate
Yes.
that?
Handle it
Yeah.
separately. Okay.
And, I think that was the only one I saw that caught my eye.
Okay. Okay. All right. At this time, I would entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented, minus Mr. Bushman's new contract.
so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Godlove. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Maury. Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries 4-0. All right. The only other item on that would be the approval of Mr. Denny Bushman's new contract. We've all had an opportunity to look that over. Are there any questions or comments at this time? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve Mr. Bushman's contract as it was presented to you on the dashboard.
So moved.
Thank you, Maury. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries 4-0.
Okay, slow down a minute. I'm trying to figure out where to put this at.
Who's taking notes?
First day on the job.
The minutes will reflect.
I know, yeah.
You know.
Mr. Secretary, we appreciate your patience.
I guess that's good, because we're in new business, okay,
We'll figure it out.
all right.
Under old business, I note the corporation safety plan, as discussed at the work session, that will be starting back up in September. Is there any news or updates on that since last week? Questions or comments from the board? Okay.
All right. September for sure.
I would,
I understand.
As for sure, is anything?
as
right
for
now?
sure, yes, that is a target date, but.
As of now.
I'm not gonna
I
guarantee
understand.
that.
Just trying to poke the bear.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Well, I think it should be pointed out, though, that all of the cameras will be in place this year at all
Yes.
the schools. So that was a big issue for the safety committee, and that part, while the safety plan may not be actually complete because we got interrupted, that's a big portion of it, and that will be complete.
And for the most part, it is completed. The reunification will be what we focus on when we get a chance to go back and reconvene in September, hopefully. Also, the cameras will all have been installed, and we're ready to go with that. And for the most part, I think we're all happy with that, and we're excited that we have new cameras, so we appreciate that.
And we got good coverage on all the schools, correct?
Yes.
New business, the first item I have would be the consideration of administrators' assistance services.
This is our contract that we're hoping to assist Kim with the treasurer and just some of her duties to bring that forward. I think that the things that she's been working on so far, she's been very pleased with the help she's been getting. So I think that would be good to follow through and continue that service with them and extend that contract.
Do you feel we're getting our money's worth?
Yes.
We need a motion.
At this time, we'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
And now that we've made the motion pass and everything, Kim's okay with it?
Yes, yes. She's had, they've worked really well together. They've got everything put in place, Form 9 done with, so we are in place and our timelines are all been met. So it's been a good experience for her. She's been very positive.
All right. Next item I have under new business is the consideration of the Twin Lakes School Corporation re-entry plan. This is in 4 stages. Ms. Metzger, would you prefer to present it all at once and approve it as a lump sum?
Yes, please.
All right. Floor is yours.
The first thing because it's a separate item, is the guidelines for the e-learning. And that is, as we talked about with the working session, only one change to those guidelines for the e-learning, and that was the teacher component, just some clarification on when teachers need to be available to students, and also the issue of waiver days and what those entail. So that is the only change in that form. Everything else, including support staff and our janitor secretaries, has remained the same. We have letters that will be going home, well, actually going through Skyward to our parents, indicating our plan. Along with that letter, we are going to have a very detailed re-entry plan for the parents. And I just want to highlight some things that we have worked very hard on, and as a group, a task that we undertook and worked well together. Met with TLCTO this week and also cleared up some questions and some concerns. And I think the one thing I want to point out is it's going to be an effort for all of us to work together with parents and just be a team with us and be positive and know that we have your best interest, not only our staff but our students, and we want to see them back in school. So that being said, we will be starting back August 10th. And we have some things to cover that I know we continue to have questions on, and parents are eager to hear what our plan is. So the one thing that I would like to go over first is the fact that we're going to, as I said, open up on the 10th. We really, like I said, I cannot stress enough the positive partnership with the parents to ensure the safety of everyone and the support of the board and our administrators. The one thing that I know the main question I've had is face coverings and what we are going to be doing with that. We've had a lot of concerns. Right now, the CDC guideline, they do recommend that students wear face coverings. At Twin Lakes, we have decided that students, it is going to be highly recommended that they wear face coverings. However, it will not be required, but it will be required in certain circumstances. And those circumstances are when social distancing is not possible. If they are working in a lab situation and they're in close proximity, if they're in a food lab, which they already wear masks anyway, small group instruction, they will be required to have a mask on. Okay? Students will be given a mask. Okay? The IDOE has provided each student with a cloth mask, and they also are providing one disposable mask. Okay? We are going to recommend that they also have an additional mask that they bring from home or parents have purchased so that those can be washed, because it's going to be really important that we keep those clean, and because they will be used, okay, in circumstances where they cannot socially distance. Okay? They are also going to be required to have those masks with them at all times when they're going from class to class.
That's
So that-
passing periods. so-
Passing periods, they do not have to wear them during passing periods, they need to have them with them. So if they go to a classroom and they're in a lab, they're gonna need to have their mask on. So that's gonna be something, and that's where we need your assistance and your support, helping us out in that matter. The bus, as for right now, you do not have to wear a mask. However, that may change depending upon what we're hearing from CDC and the IDOE. So at this time, we're not requiring that. One thing we're also going to be very careful about is the water fountains will not be turned on, so you will need a water bottle. We will have disposable cups available, so students that do not have water bottles, they can have the cups. We do have the water bottle filling stations. We have added several to each building so that students have ample access to those. Lockers, we've had a lot of questions on lockers. Yes, they will have a locker. Each building will have their own protocol of how often they will go to that locker and get their supplies from that locker. So, but they will be having lockers. Some schools are not. We are assigning lockers. One thing also to make sure of, I want to talk about transportation. This is going to be different. Usually in the past, Twin Lakes policy, you could have one drop off to aunt and uncles, and then you're going to be dropped off to grandparents or a babysitter's. This is going to be a change, so this is important that you understand. Your child will be picked up in one location and dropped off at one location. So you cannot be going to babysitters Monday and Tuesday and your parents' house Wednesday and Thursday. So it's one pickup, one drop-off, okay?
That decision comes from, is that Indiana?
That is from the IDOE. We have to keep track of where the kids, what buses they are on. So if someone comes down with the COVID, we have to make sure we know what student, what contact that student had. Who were they in contact with? If not, then we are going to have to do a lot of contact tracing, and the health department is suggesting one pickup, one drop-off. That is countywide.
Okay, so that's a county.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. One thing that after the meeting, we will have, you will, via Skyward, there will be a link where you can click on and you can request transportation, okay? This is gonna be important. We're trying to get as much information as we can because we wanna make sure our buses are not overloaded. So before registration even starts, we're trying to collect as much information as we can. So that will be going via Skyward tomorrow morning. It will also be the link will be on Facebook. If you find the link and your friend needs it, please share that link. So like I said, a partnership with the parents is going to be key. So that link will go out. That will be important because we want to make sure that we have enough transportation, and if we have to change some routes around, we're going to have to do that to social distance. At this point, we don't think we will, but we want to make sure we gather that information. If you cannot find that link, please email me or a building level administrator, and we will get that link to you, and we will go from there. But if you cannot find it, please reach out and we will support you and help you and assist you with that. One of the things also that we're a lot of questions on, if you do not feel comfortable coming back to school, we have two options. Okay, the first is what we want your kids back, we want them in the building, we're taking precautions to keep them safe. They're gonna get the best education under our roof with our teachers. Okay. If you have a student that has personal health concerns, okay, or you have a member of your current household that may have health concerns, okay, we are going to offer a distance learning option. Okay. This is going to be a very rigorous program. It is going to be with a company called Edmentum. They will still be our Twin Lakes student. However, they will be taught by Edmentum teachers, and they will also be using Edmentum curriculum. So we want everyone to understand that. Also, if you choose the distance learning, you must fill out a form, and it's the same, it'll be on the same page as the transportation, it'll be on our website, it'll be through Skyward. You have to indicate that you want to sign up, but before we approve it, you will have to come in and go through an interview process. We want to show you the program, we want to show you what it entails, okay, and the responsibility that the parent has in that role. So that will be very important. We would like that to be done by July 20th. That you fill out the form indicating you want to come in for an interview. We will interview you. We will decide if you're a good candidate or not for the distance learning component. If you are, then we will help you with that registration process. Also, very important, if you choose the distance learning option, you will not be eligible for extracurricular activities. So that's very important that everyone understands that. The distance learning option will not offer you the chance to participate in extracurricular activities.
Once they sign up with that, if they don't like it, are they
Good question.
locked into that?
Once, if you sign up and you decide distance learning and we approve and we decide that you're a good candidate for that, grades K-5 will be obligated to continue for the 9 weeks. If you're in grade 6 through 12, you will need to remain there in distance learning for the semester. Okay?
Semester,
Yes.
not just the 9 weeks.
Right. It's semester because of credits, and so that's important to know. If a student at the end of the 9 weeks decides, I want to come back to school, they're still our student. We'll put you in a classroom and you will just come back to brick and mortar. You'll be in our schools. Same thing with at the end of the semester. If you feel like you want to come back to school, you're ready, you're healthier, someone in your home is healthier, then you can return to our buildings.
One question that I've had
Yes.
asked, masks are not required unless social distancing. Of course, granted, a lunch hour, you can't really wear a mask because you're eating, but once you're done eating, with the cafeterias being as full as they are, will they be required to wear a mask then?
High school, middle school, you want to address that for your different buildings?
At the high school, our cafeteria will have half capacity for lunch. We will have our seniors out in the commons area. We're going to add tables and chairs out there. So we're going to add an additional lunch period. So we have 3 right now. Now we're going to have 4.
Okay.
So our cafeteria will be at half capacity, all 4 lunches.
Thank you.
At the middle school, we can spread the kids out actually to accommodate for social distancing, but we do have to add some tables off to the side where we usually have that big open space where we have the high top tables. We're gonna have to take those out and add longer tables, but once we do that, we actually can socially distance our students in each grade level.
Thank you.
One change also with busing, when they get to school, they will go directly to a classroom. So I hate that because that's part of, a social life and having that, but we are going to,
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about breakfast?
breakfast is they will go through, it's a sack breakfast, and they'll go to a classroom.
Okay, so they'll eat it in their classrooms?
Yes.
We do that now anyway.
Right, right.
They are eating.
One comment that Mr. Anders wanted me to raise on his behalf. Recommended but voluntary mask wearings for students. Given the peer pressure to not be different than normal, to do what everyone else is doing, especially on teens and younger. I recognize that it's required in food labs and in other places. How soon is this going to devolve into, no one else is wearing it, it's not required right now, so I'm not gonna wear it? Recognizing that there are limited options, can you expand on what drove the decision to make it recommended but not mandatory if social distancing is possible?
Usually in our labs, and when we're talking, especially the elementary level and even, K-12, if they're working in a group, they're not gonna be, it's usually impossible to be socially distanced in that. That's where it came up with that. We have met, for weeks with area superintendents, and we have the same verbiage in all of our plans countywide, that if it is not possible, and the teacher's gonna have to be the one that is really policing that and seeing can I get them 6 feet apart? It may be a change of how we deliver instruction. Definitely.
How do you do that for elementary?
Absolutely. Our famous rug time, it might be in your seats, and that's just how it has to be. So there are many questions, with that, and they're gonna have to look closely at their classrooms.
Are our teachers gonna be required to wear masks?
No. If they cannot, students and teachers are the same. If they can't socially distance and they're working with a group and they're around a lab table, then they are just like the students, and they will have to have a mask on.
For the public areas, the hallways, the high traffic areas, especially here at the high school and at Roosevelt, and the locker surfaces, what additional sanitation after hours and or during the day is going to be provided so that folks can be aware of additional measures that might be being offered for their student safety?
When students enter and exit a room, they will be sanitizing their hands, okay? That's one. We have 13 sprayers coming in that are misters, so they're not, you do not have to wipe off surfaces. We actually mist them. Between classes, if a classroom is open, our janitors have been instructed to go into that classroom and mist those. The time is, Denny, if I'm wrong, 3 minutes to 10 minutes that those have to sit, 3? Yes. So depending on that, it's much faster than wiping down surfaces. Doorknobs are gonna be wiped down continuously.
These are basically the same things they're using for airlines.
Yes.
Very similar.
Yes. We have, we know of 6 that are coming in. We'll have them ready to go, but we have ordered 13 just for the buildings. Buses will also have those as well. So bus drivers will use those before a route and after a route. Also, anybody, athletics can use it. It's safe on the weight room. Any place that is a surface, it is safe on that.
Okay.
Yep.
Another, I apologize, but another request for more information. Missy, you talked about the way you were handling socially distance at lunch by adding a session and spreading kids out. We're not requiring masks during passing periods, even though that's kind of a high traffic time. Is there, at Roosevelt and at the high school, are there similar methodologies being put in place to spread out that passing period time frame so kids can stay farther apart?
Well, the recommendation right now is if you have the passing periods and not directionally keep your hallways going, it's where the kids continuously be moving. And so they're not, as long as they're not congregating and just quickly getting to the locker and moving, that's the recommendation right now. We're going to look at possibly seeing if there's any way to stagger things, but at the high school, I'm not sure that's going to be possible. Or maybe cutting down the number of times we send them to the lockers. So we have a couple of options.
The middle school, all grade levels pass at different time. our grade levels aren't on different schedules, so it's not the whole school in the hallway ever at the same time, so that helps a little bit. And we are staggering dismissals from the classrooms in order to help with locker distancing as well. So the students are gonna be, each team of students is gonna be scattered as random as possible. So when the students leave their team, they go to their locker, keeping them distant and keeping them moving when they're walking through the hall.
And I think it's good to point out that we are on block schedule with house. So the schools that are not on block schedule, they have a lot of time to pass out of their classrooms a lot more. With us being on block scheduling, that really limits the time that students are actually in the hallways. That's gonna be a group effort of everyone being out in the hallways and keeping them moving. Easier said than done, but that is the plan for now. Remember, this is a fluid plan. Obviously, the first week, it's gonna be all hands on deck, eyes out there, what can we change? So we have to be realistic of the plan you see right now may have some tweaks to it, and probably will. Is there any other questions that you've received?
And it will be sent out to all parents, hard copy.
No. It will be available during Skyward, okay? So a paper copy is not being mailed. So your Skyward account, if you have a current email address, it will go to your email. If you do not receive it, then you will need to get in contact. Principals, is it okay if they email you? And there's also some information that you will find on the website with also email addresses. It will be on Facebook, it will be on every social media, we can get it on there, so that the plan is out there, but per se, paper copy to everyone, no.
Just want to make sure
Yeah.
that they know that it's not coming in the mail.
Yes.
And so,
Sent.
for questions, we encourage folks to look at their email, Skyward, or follow the links on Facebook and Twitter first. Read the document carefully,
Yep.
and if they still have questions or concerns, we're gonna ask them to contact their building level administrator, which is your child's principal first,
Right.
and then central office if you don't get resolution there. So, the answers are out there.
But that, what is it, a 30-page, 38-page, 40-page? Is that all available for them to see?
Yes, both are, we have a 30-page document if anyone would like, and it is very thorough. So any question you have, that should answer it. I know there will be some other questions that come up that may not be clear in that document. There will also be a shorter version that has the links to the bus transportation Google form and also the link for the distance learning Google form. So both of them will be available. They'll also be available on the website, so tlschools.com. It will be on the links. Actually, there'll be a hot link on the website that you can click on and go right to the form. That might be the easiest if you have difficulty finding it. All the documents will also be on that website. So if you do not get an email, you can log into our website and those are available. One thing that I did not go over that I would like to go over is the difference between the distance learning and e-learning. Okay? This is not e-learning that we did March to the end of the year. Okay? That was kind of a review, going over new. This is a whole different curriculum. Okay? That's important to know. This is new material that your students are going to have to know. Presented, okay, in a distance learning atmosphere where you may not have immediate contact with the teacher like you did during e-learning. Clarification though, if we happen to have a school closure like we did before, if we will have e-learning. However, if you're signed up for distance learning, you continue with distance learning. You cannot go back and forth. That's very important for parents to know. If we have a school closure, you will be doing, all students that are going to school in the building will have e-learning. If you have signed up for distance learning through Edmentum, you stay with Edmentum. Okay. Is that clarifying that?
Thank you.
Yes.
Administrators, do you have anything you'd want to add? See, classroom teachers, anything?
Deb, would you state one more time the starting points of all this, CDC, IDEM, TLCPO, give us kind of an overview of all the people that were involved in putting this plan together. Not by name, because I know
Yeah.
there's bodies, but by group, quite frankly.
We had committees that actually concentrated on academics, and then a safety committee. We had the school nurses that did their part, and they worked closely with the health department and the CDC regulations. You'll see some of the forms that they created because people are gonna have questions. When do I send them to school? How many symptoms do they have to have? That is all outlined in the plan. And that's gonna be for you to read and go through that. If you have questions about that, then our school nurses can definitely answer those. But things like that, they were in charge of that because we aren't the experts, the nurses were, and they got a lot of consultation from the health department.
The county health department, I'm assuming.
Yes. Also, the IDOE, when they would have their information, Dr. Box was instrumental with following her guidelines as well. Jen Craig, I'm gonna mention her name because she did all the cafeteria procedures. Oh gosh, I'm glad we have her. So she is on it with the cafeteria, and this means that when they're in the cafeteria, they're not getting their own milk. They're handed the milk. So it's very, very clear on guidelines. They will not be reaching to do a la carte. They will not be reaching in to get anything anymore. So that means we have to have more staff. So with it, we're, following the guidelines, and Jen knows exactly, and we're keeping the kids safe that way. I feel 100% confident in our cafeteria staff and Jen leading that and knowing the procedures and the guidelines we have to follow. Also, Denny, thank you. He worked, and we have figuring out how we're gonna clean and what sanitizer and the best prices and how do we get it, and we're in good shape there. So every school has a 3-month supply on hand, ready to go. Some schools are still struggling to find it, so kudos to you. Thank you, Denny.
Now, you talked about sanitizer, hand sanitizers too?
Hand sanitizer, yes. Yep, right, 3-month supply every
Of cleaning, we have
cleaning.
enough to restock about twice to 3 times our automatics and that stuff. Plus, I've got a HP, I talked to them, they've got the stock of all gallons that we're looking at, come in common areas and things like that. We just gotta decide on which stand, the stands today, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't have to check the kids' temperatures when they come in, I mean.
Good question, no. Parents will be responsible for student self-screen. We talk about masks and we talk about buses, but I'm gonna say, parents, the one thing that you can help us with is making sure that you self-screen those students. And if there's any questions, do not send them to school. So we have to have your support in that self-screen process. That is the first way that we're gonna keep our kids safe, is if we're sending them to school and they're okay to be here. But if we're sending kids and we haven't really we're not doing our due diligence of making sure that we're sending them healthy, then that is our main concern. So we can wear a mask all day, but the true way we can prevent this and keep our kids and our staff healthy is our self-screening. I may have questions about what do teachers do. Teachers every day will fill out a form and they will be doing their self-screen, and this will be documented that they are okay to come to work. If you have an athlete and they're already practicing, they're already doing this. It's the same basic form that they're saying, agreeing to it and signing that. So if you have an athlete at home, you kind of understand the process. Before they can practice, it has to be filled out. Okay?
What if we have a student that tests positive for COVID?
Yep.
What's that gonna do for the whole school?
That's gonna be a case, and I hate to say it, case by case. So what's gonna happen is we have to report that to White County Health Department. They are responsible, not the school, they're responsible to tracking where that student was, where were they on, that's why the one drop off and one pickup is important. What bus did they ride? What class were they in? So that's gonna be a huge responsibility. People are saying, well, will one school close down, or what? How many people did they affect?
Right.
So, I wish we had a magic wand for this. It is going to be
Well, wait and see.
a wait and see, and I wish I had a concrete
But
answer.
you have addressed that, that's been addressed.
That is in the plan, step by step. If this happens, this is what's gonna happen. So that is all in the plan. So, anyone watching, parents, if you're, not sure of that and what will happen, that is laid out in the plan, step by step, and it will
I'm
be
just asking, because I
addressed.
know it's in the plan, but we
Yep.
have people out there that might have the same question.
Yes.
Can I add something really quick, just jumping off the screening for parents?
Yes.
That it's really important too that parents know that, like, our attendance incentives, like, we were told by the DOE that we are not to do that. So I don't want parents to be like, my kid gets perfect attendance every year, and I don't care if they have a temperature
Yes.
of like a 101, they're gonna go because they have perfect attendance, which is how a lot of our kids are too. They want that perfect attendance. We are not, like, DOE is telling us we're not doing that. And I would agree with that, we shouldn't. If you're sick, we want you to stay home, it's super important. So our attendance incentives are no
Yeah,
longer.
there will be no attendance incentives. If they're running a PBIS program and they get points for being there, that is no longer going to be part of the equation. That is a directive from the ITOE.
With that in mind, have we changed our standards for total number of absences which are acceptable for this year?
I just actually watched, reminder, they will still, I do it, if they're gone, it counts against them. However, are we going to turn that in and, be beating down your door? There's no. So, yes, that has to change. So attendance is going to be something that the letters that used to go out, after 7 days, 10 days, if we're worried about attendance, we will contact you and make sure everything is okay. But we do not want parents to send the kids if they believe they're sick. And we do not want that attendance letter or us sending it off to someone hanging above their head. We want to keep our students safe, and I think the only way we can do that is to make sure that we are not going to send those letters out, we don't have those attendance incentives, and that we take due diligence so that we keep our kids safe, which if you think you have one of those symptoms, do not send them to school.
Be considerate of others.
Right.
Thank you for that explanation.
And again, I think we can't stress enough to our people who are out watching this. Any questions, please do not hesitate to contact your building administrators. I know they've done a lot of hard work on this central office, but go to your building administrators first because they know they'll have the answers that they need.
And thank you, principals.
Thank you.
You're an awesome team, and I could never. This was a really long process, but we got a lot of hours together. So it was a good process, and I think it showed what a strong administrative team we have here at Twin Lakes.
Well,
So-
it also sounds like Carl was at one of the meetings as well, wasn't he not?
Yes, we met twice with TLCTO, and so we made sure that hopefully we're all in this together, because we have to be a team in order for this to work.
Thank you.
Yeah, for those listening, TLCTO is Twin Lakes Classroom Teachers
Thank
Organization.
you.
Other comments?
I make a motion, we accept the Twin Lakes School Corporation reentry plan.
I will second that motion.
Lori, thank you, John. Been moved and seconded that we accept the reentry plan as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
Good luck.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Ongoing activities, the corporation role responsibilities. This is Mr. Sayers, I believe.
Yes. I believe he is presenting at the August meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have any other updates on that, other than that's the deadline we gave him. I have no knowledge of any additional news at Woodlawn at this time. Has Boys and Girls Club brought any plan of their own into being for the 20/21?
They plan on opening, August 10th with us.
Great.
Yep. So.
I know they've been pretty active with some summer activities.
Yes. And then working closely, the 21st Century Program will still continue with that tutoring, probably a little later down so we can get Boys and Girls Club and going and making sure those procedures are in place. But yes, so I think that's important that parents know that Boys and Girls Club will be available for them.
Ongoing activity is our search for a new school attorney. We are still in the process, and hopefully we'll have somebody by August.
Thank you to that committee.
And also, another one that's going to be added on is the fact that Mike Galvin has chosen to leave us to the southern part of the state, to North Posey. And so another activity that's going to be started up will be to find a new superintendent.
We thank Mr. Galvin for his 4 years with us, and we wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Where the winters are much less severe. Snow days are a distant memory.
We only have 2 trucks down there, though, so.
Eagles, right?
Thank you all. I appreciate it very much. I've appreciated the support that I've had here. We've done a lot of great things, and I feel that very confident in Deb and the administrative team. The principals we put in place are outstanding women, and I think they're going to do a great job for the future of the corporation. So thank you all very much.
Good luck,
sir.
Thank you.
I have no further items, so I would accept a motion to adjourn.
One question I have before we do that.
Yes, sir.
With Mr. Galvin leaving, do we need to make any kind of a notation or anything for an interim superintendent?
So once he officially is approved and turns in his resignation, then we certainly can. And the question was asked to me earlier today, do we have to convene a board meeting right then to vote on the interim? And I believe the answer is no. We can appoint an interim that day when it's required, and then vote to officially fill that position at the next regularly scheduled meeting.
And not putting, but do you know when North Posey's meeting or anything?
Sort of, kind of. We're doing the postings and stuff right now. So it looks like it's probably going to be, I haven't talked to the board president recently, but probably about August 3rd or so.
All right.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, John.
Second.
Thank you, Maury. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. We are adjourned.
We're done, Herman.
Thanks, Herman.
Yes.